Chosen one. Why chosens shouldn't announce their wealth. Wealth, in its many forms, is a powerful tool. It can open doors, create opportunities, and provide the resources necessary to live a life of comfort, influence, and even transformation. But with this power comes responsibility, and a responsibility that is often invisible to those outside the circle of understanding. To announce your wealth is not merely a statement of fact. It is a broadcast of energy, a signal sent into the world that interacts with the people, systems, and forces around you. While the material world may seem to reward transparency and sharing, the deeper currents of life, the energetic, social, and spiritual currents, often respond in ways that are far more complex than one might expect. Announcing wealth publicly can attract attention, but not all attention is beneficial. Some of it may carry envy, subtle resentment, and the projection of desires and intentions that are not aligned with your higher path. It is not about secrecy for secrecy's sake, nor about fear. It is about understanding the subtle dynamics that come into play when one occupies a position of abundance. The chosen one, the individual who has been given gifts beyond the ordinary, who has resources that could shift the balance in their environment, must navigate these waters with care and discernment. As we begin to explore this topic, it is important to understand the interconnection between wealth and energy. Every expression of abundance, whether material, intellectual, or spiritual, carries a resonance that can be sensed and interpreted by the universe. In this light, consider the concept of wishes, the deep, heartfelt expressions of intent that each of us carries within. When you watch this video until the end, you will gain an understanding not only of the wisdom behind guarding your wealth, but also of the power of sending your warmest wishes into the world. By writing your wishes and the number 66 in the comments, you actively participate in a practice that energizes the universe, creating waves of intention that reverberate beyond what is immediately visible. This is not about superstition. It is about alignment, about understanding that every act of sharing, every vibration you emit, interacts with the larger energetic field in ways that can manifest results, sometimes in unexpected ways. The chosen one who integrates this understanding realizes that announcing wealth is not necessary to demonstrate abundance or to fulfill one's purpose. The universe already knows, and those who are in resonance with your path will sense your energy without need for overt declaration. Chosen one, your destiny awaits. Click the hype button, like this video, subscribe, and walk with us into the light. Now, returning to the question at hand, why should a chosen one avoid announcing their wealth? The reasons are multifaceted. On a social level, human nature responds strongly to displays of material success. While admiration may arise, so does comparison. Comparison breeds subtle forms of competition, judgment, and in some cases, the desire to take, diminish, or redirect what has been achieved. In the presence of overt wealth, many individuals may unconsciously or consciously adjust their behavior toward you, creating distortions in relationships, trust, and genuine connection. This is particularly significant for the chosen one, whose journey often requires the cultivation of allies, collaborators, and supporters who operate from alignment rather than from external motivators. Announcing wealth can inadvertently attract relationships based on utility rather than authenticity. Friends, colleagues, or acquaintances may approach motivated by self-interest rather than genuine connection, introducing dynamics that can compromise both personal and professional growth. The wisdom here is subtle but critical. True influence, leadership, and impact are rarely built through displays of wealth. They are built through example, integrity, and the quiet exertion of force that is invisible yet deeply felt. On a psychological level, announcing wealth can have consequences that are less visible but equally profound. Wealth, when publicly broadcasted, creates an internal feedback loop in the announcer. The mind begins to identify strongly with the external markers of success, leading to increased vulnerability to ego-driven patterns, insecurity, and fear of loss. The chosen one, aware of their unique position, must cultivate a relationship with wealth that is grounded in purpose rather than in display. The psychological trap of external validation is particularly potent for individuals whose abundance is rare or hard-earned. By keeping wealth private, the chosen one avoids the externalization of their identity and maintains clarity about the role that resources play in the service of their mission, rather than in the cultivation of status or attention. It is a subtle yet profound discipline, requiring maturity, patience, and a willingness to forego immediate recognition in favor of long-term alignment on a spiritual and energetic level. Announcing wealth can be even more impactful. Energy follows intention, and intention is amplified when it is broadcast into the world. By announcing material abundance, the chosen one may inadvertently attract energies that are not aligned with their highest good. Energetic parasites, envy, and unconscious competition are forces that exist in subtle dimensions of reality, and while unseen, they can influence outcomes, decisions, and the flow of life itself. Protecting one's wealth in silence is not selfish. It is a form of energetic hygiene. It is a practice of safeguarding the clarity of your field, ensuring that resources are utilized for growth, transformation, and purposeful action rather than being diluted by external interference or distraction. The chosen one recognizes that abundance is not a prize to be flaunted, but a tool to be wielded with wisdom, compassion, and strategic restraint. Practical considerations also reinforce the wisdom of discretion. In modern society, wealth is often equated with vulnerability. Public announcements of financial status can invite risk, from fraud and theft to coercion and exploitation. Beyond immediate security concerns, wealth attracts attention that can compromise the chosen one's freedom to operate without undue interference. The world often perceives wealth as a form of power, and while power can be used for good, it can also become a magnet for those seeking leverage, influence, or gain at your expense. By maintaining discretion, the chosen one preserves autonomy, mitigates unnecessary risk, and ensures that the flow of resources continues to serve intention rather than being diverted by circumstance or opportunism. Furthermore, the act of announcing wealth creates an external narrative, one that may not fully capture the complexity or responsibility of abundance. The chosen one's journey is not merely about accumulation, but about stewardship, growth, and impact. Publicizing wealth reduces these layers to a single, often shallow, interpretation: that of possession. This misalignment can create friction with the intended purpose of resources. Wealth is meant to catalyze change, to enable the realization of vision, and to facilitate transformation both within and beyond the individual. When its presence is announced, it risks being trapped in perception rather than action. The chosen one, therefore, practices a discipline that is simultaneously humble and strategic, cultivating an internal understanding of wealth as an instrument rather than a badge, a resource rather than a measure of worth. In the modern age where social media and constant visibility shape perception, the imperative for discretion becomes even more pronounced. Every post, story, or public acknowledgement creates ripples that extend far beyond the immediate audience. Algorithms, perception, and social dynamics amplify the visibility of wealth in ways that are uncontrollable. The chosen one, aware of these forces, must navigate a landscape where exposure can generate unintended consequences. What may begin as a simple sharing of joy or accomplishment can quickly escalate into a vortex of attention that distracts from purpose, fuels egoic identification, and attracts energies misaligned with the intended mission. Discretion, in this context, becomes an act of mastery, a conscious decision to remain focused, grounded, and undistracted by the illusions of recognition. In essence, the chosen one's relationship with wealth is a reflection of a larger truth. Abundance is both a responsibility and a resource for transformation. It is not a tool for external validation, nor a signal to be broadcast for recognition. Instead, it is a quiet force, a hidden river of potential that moves through life in subtle and often imperceptible ways. Those who are aware of their unique position understand that the cultivation of wealth in silence does not diminish its impact, it magnifies it. The unseen currents of influence, the subtleties of social and energetic interaction, and the protection of psychological integrity all hinge upon discretion. The chosen one acts not for display, but for the deeper currents of purpose that wealth enables, channeling resources toward transformation, growth, and the manifestation of vision in ways that are often invisible yet profoundly felt. The principles of humility, restraint, and strategic discretion are therefore central to the life of the chosen one. Wealth, like energy, is neutral until it is directed. When directed without wisdom or awareness, it can create imbalance, disruption, and unintended consequences. When directed with discernment, it becomes a catalyst for change, a bridge to higher purpose, and a tool for sustaining the mission that goes beyond personal gain. Announcing wealth publicly, even in moments of joy or celebration, risks distorting the trajectory of that energy, inviting forces that may seek to diminish or divert it. The chosen one recognizes that the value of wealth is not in its display, but in its effective, intentional, and aligned use, a principle that safeguards both the individual and the larger field in which they operate. The more one explores the interplay between wealth and influence, the more apparent it becomes that announcing abundance is rarely beneficial for the chosen one. At the surface, it may appear that declaring success strengthens status, commands respect, or attracts admiration. Yet, beneath this surface, subtle forces are at work. Forces that operate in the realm of human perception, societal expectation, and energetic resonance. The chosen one exists at the intersection of these forces, navigating a path where visibility and invisibility are both strategic tools. Announcing wealth is a blunt instrument in this delicate environment, often producing outcomes that are counterproductive, distracting, or even dangerous. Consider, for instance, the human tendency to equate visible wealth with value. When possessions, assets, or lifestyle are displayed, there is an implicit invitation for judgment. People are prone to interpret abundance as either a reflection of inherent worth or a measure of moral standing. This is rarely accurate, and for the chosen one, such misinterpretations create friction in relationships, opportunities, and influence. Those around may respond with subtle envy, desire, or expectation, often without conscious awareness. In effect, The announcer of wealth becomes a lightning rod for projection, a surface upon which others' unresolved emotions and aspirations are cast. Maintaining discretion allows the chosen one to operate beyond these projections, ensuring that connections, collaborations, and influence are based on resonance, alignment, and authenticity rather than superficial indicators of success. The dynamics of trust are deeply affected by the public announcement of wealth. Trust, particularly in high-stakes situations, is fragile and cultivated over time. When wealth is broadcasted, it can skew interactions, shifting the balance from mutual respect to transactional evaluation. People may consciously or unconsciously measure themselves against the announcer, calculating motives, intentions, and benefits. This undermines genuine connection, as the focus moves from shared purpose to material comparison. For the chosen one, whose mission often relies on collaboration, subtle guidance, and influence rather than overt control, trust is a currency far more valuable than money itself. Protecting the perception of wealth preserves the purity of engagement, allowing relationships to develop organically and unencumbered by external pressures or expectations. In addition to social dynamics, there are profound energetic considerations. Wealth, in any form, is a manifestation of concentrated energy, publicly declaring it is akin to releasing a signal that radiates beyond the immediate environment. While this signal may attract admiration, it also attracts subtle interference. Energetic observers, whether individuals, groups, or collective consciousness patterns, respond to abundance in ways that are often invisible but potent. Some may resonate positively, aligning with the flow of energy, while others may resonate negatively, feeding off insecurity, envy, or desire. The chosen one, aware of these invisible currents, understands that discretion is not about fear, but about preservation of energy. By keeping wealth unannounced, one creates a buffer between external forces and the internal integrity required to act decisively, purposefully, and creatively. Historically, some of the most influential individuals have mastered the art of quiet abundance. Those who wielded great resources, whether intellectual, material, or spiritual, understood that the appearance of wealth could misdirect attention, dilute influence, and invite unnecessary risk. By avoiding public declarations, they ensured that their energy remained directed toward vision, strategy, and impact rather than distraction, perception management, or defense. The chosen one, in this sense, participates in a lineage of wisdom, a recognition that abundance is most powerful when it is guided, aligned, and discreetly applied. Public announcement transforms a tool into a spectacle. Discretion transforms it into leverage. There is also a psychological discipline at work. Announcing wealth externally reinforces attachment to outcomes, possessions, and external validation. This attachment, even if subtle, feeds egoic patterns that can undermine purpose. The chosen one must cultivate a sense of internal grounding, where wealth is recognized as a resource to be stewarded rather than a reflection of identity. Public declarations risk distorting self-perception, encouraging dependency on applause, recognition, or envy-driven attention. By maintaining silence, the chosen one strengthens internal alignment, anchoring identity in purpose rather than in possessions, and cultivating resilience in the face of both gain and potential loss. Practical risks compound these psychological and energetic considerations. Announcing wealth makes one a target, financially, socially, and even physically. Security, both tangible and intangible, is compromised when abundance is broadcasted. Opportunistic individuals may seek to exploit, manipulate, or coerce. Even subtle forms of leverage, such as social pressure or unsolicited advice, can be disruptive. For the chosen one, whose focus must remain on mission and impact, these distractions are far from trivial. The act of announcing wealth invites variables that cannot always be controlled, whereas discretion preserves agency, autonomy, and strategic advantage. It is also essential to examine the concept of scarcity and projection. When wealth is visible, others may project both conscious and unconscious narratives onto the announcer. Stories of power, moral responsibility, superiority, or privilege. Some projections may be admiring, others critical, yet all create a perceptual weight that the chosen one must navigate. By avoiding public declaration, one mitigates the risk of being trapped in these projected narratives, preserving freedom to act, influence, and create without unnecessary interference. The chosen one operates in subtlety, shaping outcomes through presence, intention, and strategic engagement rather than through overt display. Another layer to consider is the nature of influence itself. True influence does not depend on material visibility. In fact, influence is often strongest when it is subtle, almost imperceptible wealth, when discreet, functions as a tool for enabling action, supporting vision, and cultivating networks in ways that are unseen but deeply effective. Public announcement, conversely, risks transforming influence into a performance, creating expectation, comparison, and distraction rather than impact. The chosen one recognizes that power, like wealth, is most potent when applied quietly, deliberately, and without unnecessary broadcast. Finally, the chosen one understands the long-term implications of announcement. Wealth is often cyclical, dynamic, and impermanent in its forms. By anchoring identity and perception in the act of declaring wealth, one risks vulnerability to fluctuation and loss. Discretion ensures that the chosen one's trajectory remains guided by purpose rather than by external validation or fleeting circumstances. Wealth becomes a tool for creation rather than a measure of self-worth, preserving stability, clarity, and alignment over time. In sum, the chosen one's discretion regarding wealth is not about secrecy or shame. It is about mastery, integrity, and alignment. Announcing wealth publicly introduces social, psychological, energetic, and practical risks that undermine influence, trust, and purpose. By exercising restraint, the chosen one preserves the subtle currents of energy, maintains the purity of relationships, protects personal security, and strengthens the internal alignment necessary for meaningful impact. Wealth, when directed with wisdom and discretion, becomes a catalyst for transformation rather than a source of distraction. The quiet steward of abundance wields resources with discernment, creating ripples that extend far beyond immediate perception and shaping outcomes that are profound, lasting, and aligned with the higher trajectory of their path. The wisdom of discretion regarding wealth is not limited to abstract principles. It is reinforced by countless examples across history, culture, and contemporary life. The chosen one who announces abundance often finds that the world responds not with admiration alone, but with complex social dynamics that test resilience, judgment, and intention. Historical figures, visionaries, and leaders who managed vast resources understood that public declaration often created friction, distraction, and vulnerability. Those who achieved transformative impact frequently did so from a place of quiet stewardship, where wealth remained a tool rather than a spectacle, and influence was exercised through subtlety rather than display. In modern contexts, the consequences of announcing wealth are amplified. Social media, instant communication, and global visibility transform personal abundance into public spectacle almost immediately. Every post, image, or story carries the potential to trigger responses far beyond the immediate circle. Positive attention may coexist with negative responses. Envy, judgment, expectation, or even subtle sabotage. The chosen one, aware of these forces, understands that wealth is a magnet for both admiration and interference. By choosing discretion, one preserves freedom to act, influence, and create without unnecessary entanglement in reactive or competitive dynamics. This is particularly critical in professional, social, or spiritual contexts, where misalignment between appearance and purpose can distort relationships, compromise trust, and diminish impact. The energetic implications of announcing wealth are subtle yet powerful. Wealth is a concentrated form of energy, a tangible manifestation of accumulated resources, effort, and intention. Broadcasting it publicly sends ripples into the surrounding field, attracting energies that may align with or oppose one's purpose. Some of these energies are obvious, such as social attention or scrutiny, but many are invisible, operating on levels of consciousness that are subtle yet consequential. Discretion acts as a form of energetic containment, allowing the chosen one to direct the flow of wealth without interference, distraction, or dilution. Energy that is safeguarded quietly can be deployed with precision, supporting initiatives, relationships, and actions that resonate deeply and produce meaningful outcomes. On a psychological level, announcing wealth engages the ego in ways that can be destabilizing. Identity, when anchored to external markers such as material possessions or visible abundance, becomes vulnerable to fluctuation. Praise, recognition, envy, and comparison all feed back into the mind, creating cycles of validation-seeking, insecurity, and attachment. The chosen one cultivates mastery over these patterns through restraint. By keeping wealth private, one strengthens internal grounding, ensuring that identity remains aligned with purpose rather than performance. Wealth becomes an instrument of action, not a measure of self-worth, and decisions are made from clarity rather than compulsion. Socially, the effects of announcing wealth can be equally disruptive. Wealth changes perception, often subtly. Friends, colleagues, and acquaintances may unconsciously adjust their behavior, expectations, and intentions based on visible abundance. Interactions that were once genuine can shift toward transactional evaluation. Invitations, collaborations, or partnerships may be influenced by desire for access rather than alignment of vision. By maintaining discretion, the chosen one ensures that relationships are based on resonance and authenticity, rather than superficial markers of success. This subtle social calibration allows for influence to develop organically, creating networks, alliances, and support structures that are both robust and enduring. Discretion also enables strategic leverage. Wealth, when hidden or understated, can serve as a quiet force for enabling vision and transformation. It allows the chosen one to intervene, support, or guide without creating distraction, expectation, or resistance. Unseen resources can act as a stabilizing force, a silent enabler of opportunity, innovation, and impact. Public declaration, by contrast, often transforms resources into symbols, inviting external pressure, judgment, or interference. The chosen one, aware of this dynamic, recognizes that true power lies in action rather than announcement. Wealth, like influence, is most effective when applied with subtlety, purpose, and intention. Another dimension to consider is the long-term sustainability of wealth. Publicly announcing abundance can create pressure to maintain appearances. This can inadvertently shift focus from stewardship and purposeful use toward maintaining image or social standing. The chosen one, prioritizing alignment and impact, avoids these traps by exercising restraint. Discretion fosters sustainability, ensuring that resources are applied strategically, consistently, and in ways that generate cumulative benefits over time. In this sense, quiet management of wealth becomes a form of mastery, one that balances immediate opportunity with long-term trajectory. Even in practical terms, announcing wealth introduces a spectrum of risks. Visibility increases vulnerability to exploitation, manipulation, or coercion. Opportunistic individuals may seek to leverage perceived abundance, consciously or unconsciously. Financial, social, and even personal security can be compromised. By keeping wealth private, the chosen one preserves autonomy, maintains strategic control, and ensures that resources remain aligned with purpose rather than diverted by circumstance. Discretion is not avoidance. It is preparation, protection, and empowerment. Furthermore, the choice to remain quiet about wealth cultivates patience, humility, and internal resilience. The chosen one learns to derive satisfaction from the alignment of action with intention rather than external validation. Wealth becomes a vehicle for growth, learning, and contribution rather than a signal to the world. This internalized approach fosters clarity, focus, and creative freedom, allowing the chosen one to direct resources with precision, influence without interference, and impact without distraction. In embracing this path of quiet stewardship, the chosen one safeguards their wealth while deepening their connection to purpose. Every decision is deliberate, every action aligned, and every resource applied with intention. By keeping abundance private, they preserve the purity of their influence and the integrity of their journey. True power and lasting impact arise not from what is announced, but from what is thoughtfully created and nurtured, allowing wealth to become a silent force that shapes outcomes and amplifies potential.